Democrats, some of them calling to abolish ICE, and Republicans responding with a resolution of their own.
Except their version was meant to show support for the men and women of the agency, and it just passed with flying colors in the House. Joining us now is the sponsor of that pro-ICE bill, Army veteran and former SWAT officer, Congressman Clay Higgins. Thank you for joining us this morning, Congressman. I have to ask you, are you surprised that we've gone on this long with so many people being anti-ICE? It seemed like initially this was something that people just kind of got on board with, and now it's taken on a life of its own.
Well, many Americans may be surprised, madam, but I'm not, because I'm a police officer. And police officers have been under attack from the left for a long time. It's been a decade. You have cops getting shot in their cars doing reports, you know. So when the Democrats introduced this concept of abolishing ICE, which is a highly professional law enforcement agency. They're responsible for scores of thousands of arrests, 127,000 dangerous criminal aliens arrested last year alone. We had to respond, so I did.
Let's look at some of these statistics to go along with what you just said. 105,000 criminal alien arrests in 2017, 226,000 removals, 4,000 transnational gang arrests, 796 of those MS-13, $39 million in drug seizures, $434 million in money seized from drug operations. I mean, you look at that list, this is what ICE does. To welcome all of that into our country and abolish this organization, how ridiculous do you think that is?
Well, dangerously ridiculous. Sir, I would agree completely that that sort of vitriol and disturbing rhetoric required a response. So it was deep in my heart to do so, and I was embraced by members of my conference, some of the most conservative and patriotic men and women across the Republican conference were original co-sponsors. We had over 60 original co-sponsors on the bill. And to their credit, leadership allowed it to come to the floor.
So tell us about the bill and what has the reaction been?
Well, from most of America, it's been very positive. You know, I've received many messages, letters of support, and phone calls from across the country thanking us for moving this forward and standing up and speaking out against the threatening vitriol from the left. To actually suggest to abolish ICE is to suggest that you want to allow what ICE stops. Right. So open borders is certainly not something that America supports. We're a nation of law and order. We're a nation of sovereign borders, and a sovereign nation cannot stand without sovereign borders. ICE has a large role to play in that, and my resolution was largely supported, and as you can see, with the exception of my colleagues across the aisle, many of whom I greatly respect, by the way, yeah. But as a body, they seem to react in quite a leftist manner sometimes.
What I thought was so ridiculous is, you look at the numbers on human trafficking and the impact that Immigration and Customs Enforcement can make against human trafficking and protecting those victims. The Democrats got so wound up over these children being separated from their families after they cross illegally into the country. Yet when it comes to the victims of human trafficking, they seem to not care at all. Let's abolish ICE and just let that continue to happen.
Yeah, it seems to be a continuation of their tendency to place the interest of illegal immigrants above the interests of American citizens. Let us not forget that we have approximately 750,000 American citizens that are separated from their children, currently incarcerated in American jails. You separate yourself from your child when you commit a criminal act and to get prosecuted and convicted. So they know when they're crossing the border that, you know, they're subject to that. And in many cases, some of these children being separated allegedly from alleged family members. That needs to be investigated and determined, and we do a good job at that. Those kids are getting treated with a great deal of compassion and love from the Americans that they encounter.
Yeah.
Congressman, thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.